With YNW Melly's trial beginning soon, the last month of his life has been documented. It all started on July 6th, with new paperwork being released revealing that YNW Melly will no longer be facing the penalty within his case. Reports are being released of sloppy paperwork by the feds in the court system, resulting in the penalty being dropped. Then also reports of good defenses coming out from YNW Melly's side and lawyers. YNW Melly's mother wrote on Instagram saying, "The penalty has been officially been removed from YNW Melly's case. Thank you, Jesus. #FreeMelly 2022. With the trial beginning soon, the court's starting to see the defenses from YNW Melly's side. Just as 100K Track said in an interview with DJ Akademiks, he stated this.
He built a real great solid team away from just being innocent because he wouldn't do such a crime. He prepared himself and got a proper, defense. Their job is to handle themselves in trial, not on social media. You guys are taking it that way. If they say they got DNA in a car, I'm just gonna tell you, Melly DNA was found in the car. You're gonna think, yeah, his DNA was found in the car the day of the. Oh, he jumped in a car and his DNA was in the car. He did it, okay? But you're not gonna put the fact that this was his car for 6-7 months on those documents and dockets and just automatically be like, yo, he's fried. You don't even know what the defense is. You don't even know what the rebuttal is. You don't even know why that situation occurred. You hear ballistics flying. You don't know what the defense is. You hear this, you hear that. You get what I'm saying?
I'm gonna be honest.
If YNW Melly's defense team has done as good as a job as sources claim, YNW Melly should be able to beat this case once the trial is over. But just while things are looking better for YNW Melly, a very concerning update was actually released at a court hearing 2 weeks ago. Now at this court hearing, a detective said in the YNW Melly case stated in court he believes the rapper was likely the one who committed this act towards the two YNW affiliates. According to court documents obtained by XXL, Detective Christopher Williams will be testifying against YNW Melly in the trial. Detective Williams is one of the best and greatest detectives in the entire USA. He's known to be one of the greatest detectives at recreating crime scenes, to build an image on how certain crimes went down when there is no surveillance footage. Now, Detective Williams reconstructed the scene of the crime by using human-like figures in the exact same Jeep. Detective Williams and his crew ended up making models of YNW Sack Chaser and YNW Juvie, making them the exact same height and the exact same weight as both of them. He then sat them inside of the Jeep that they were driving in, and he used firearms towards the figures, with everything lining up the same as the actual crime scene inside of the Jeep. It also revealed that YNW Melly most likely did this act towards Sack Chaser and Juvie only 8 inches away from their faces. This is due to the aftermath that went all over the window and roof of the vehicle. Now, all signs of who did the act towards Juvie and Sack Chaser were sitting directly in YNW Melly's seat inside of the car. Now here's the photo of where everyone was sitting. YNW Bortland, being the driver of the vehicle, had YNW Melly sitting directly behind him. This is leaving YNW Sack Chaser and Juvie both on the opposite side of the car. Detective Williams also used what's called the stick method, meaning he used plastic sticks to match the trajectory of the firearm that was used from YNW Melly's seat. The trajectory from Melly's seat showed a perfect match to where YNW Sack Chaser and YNW Juvie were affected once brought to the hospital and examined. Now this then brought us to the start of YNW Melly's documented time in jail. This was a little over a month ago, as YNW Melly was attending a court hearing which would in the end delay his trial. YNW Melly shared a photo to his Instagram with the caption saying, "It's about that time. I'll be home this year," with getting tons of love from Trippie Redd, YNWB Slime, and even Lil Durk in the comments. Now YNW Melly still believes that he's innocent and will be returning home this year, as documented from the courtroom. Inside of the courtroom, things began to get very emotional, as friends of YNW Melly, such as Bortland, were in attendance alongside Melly's family, all wishing him well in the case. Now, once the court hearing was over, YNW Melly was then transported back to the county jail, and this is where things got very ugly. Sources claim people from YNW Melly's cell block inside of jail was awaiting his arrival back. Once arriving at the county jail, an altercation occurred between YNW Melly and another rapper named Rico Reckless, as YNW Melly's official Twitter account put out this statement saying, "To all my loved ones and close friends, I wanted to let everyone know that my phone privilege have been revoked and I am no longer allowed to call or have video visitation. That is the reason why no one has received calls from me, but do not worry, I am still in great spirits." Now, just weeks before YNW Melly's trial beginning, the Florida rapper ran into an altercation inside of his jail cell. This is when we saw reports being released of YNW Melly being placed in solitary confinement after getting into an altercation inside of jail with another rapper named Rico Reckless from Chicago, Illinois. They are both awaiting their trials to begin. YNW Melly inside of jail has allegedly always been a problem with newer inmates. Ever since the release of his new evidence files, YNW Melly has allegedly been running into countless issues with inmates. These problems for YNW Melly inside of jail all started when law enforcement dropped this new piece of evidence, which is case breaking. Now, the biggest rap news outlet known as Complex reported on this in an article stating YNW Melly was having a conversation with a burner account on Instagram the day Sack Chaser and Juvie sadly passed. Now, as the passings of YNW Sack Chaser and YNW Juvie were just hitting news headlines, as reported by Complex, they stated there is one Instagram exchange that took place hours after the passings, which was obtained by Complex via a public records request. In it, YNW Melly's Instagram account says, "I did that," in one message, followed 2 minutes later by another message saying, "Shh." The timing of these Instagram DMs will be getting used by the state against YNW Melly to see if those messages amount to an admission of YNW Melly's guilt. As mind you, YNW Melly sent that message saying, "I did that," only hours after their passings. A few messages later, the man YNW Melly was talking with messages Melly once again, telling him, "Hey, there's a Sig 9 on the market." The state will likely assume that a Sig 9 is slang for some sort of firearm on the streets, as YNW Melly replied to this message saying, "I want it." Now, YNW Melly's cell phone, however, revealed most of the evidence in this court case. Not only those messages on Instagram, but in the other evidence files, it states these particular cell phones, which were both iPhone 10s, were on the T-Mobile network. And so T-Mobile has a very interesting feature where it will tell you the environment the cell phone is in. So from these cell phone records, I can tell you the exact moment Demons got out of the car and staged the drive-by location. And this is where it gets concerning for YNW Melly, as YNW Bortland, Juvie, Sack Chaser, and Melly were driving home on the day of their passings. YNW Bortland drove the vehicle into an empty parking lot that was located on a side street. According to GPS evidence on YNW Melly's cell phone, they were able to see that YNW Melly and his crew sat in that parked car for 30 minutes, till suddenly out of nowhere, YNW Melly with his cell phone in his pocket steps out of the vehicle and walks around the vehicle before hopping back in, which is very, very suspicious in this case. Now, also on YNW Melly's cell phone, they found a very concerning video on it. The evidence report states, then also, we have a video of Mr. Demons admitting to doing an act towards two individuals in the head. This video was on Mr. Demon's cell phone, which was brought to my office by Jameson Francis, and that's how we had that, and that is all of the evidence that Your Honor has. Now, Jameson Francis in this evidence file is actually 100K Track inside that video that I shared at the start of this video. Him being YNW Melly's manager, he was in charge of holding YNW Melly's cell phone while he was in jail. And with law enforcement being able to track it via GPS the entire time, they knew that he had it the whole time and put a warrant out for the phone. If 100K Track didn't give up that cell phone, he would then be getting arrested himself. But the last month of YNW Melly's life has been far from easy. If you would like to see it get better and him be released, leave a like on the video, and don't forget to subscribe if you're new.